You're listening to the Moody Mommies podcast.
Audio warning. You may or may not hear kids screaming and yelling in the background, or us screaming or yelling at them to keep it together.
Hey guys, it's Moody Mommy's podcast, and I'm Jessica.
And I'm Vanessa.
And today we have another guest for you guys. I always get really confused in how to detail relation. Do I just say it's my cousin, or do I say it's my husband's cousin's wife? Like, it just gets really confusing and all over the place. But we have Gaby here with us today. Welcome her.
Hey guys. Hi.
Gaby, I'm so excited to talk to you today because it's been forever. I haven't caught up with you in the longest time, and I know you just had another baby, so I just want to hear all about the baby bliss that you're in right now.
Yes, it is pretty amazing. A little stressful, but he keeps us going. His little smile. Every day he's learning something new, so it really just gets us going every day.
How many weeks is he now?
He just turned 2 months today.
Oh, little baby.
Yeah.
Dude, it's flying by. It doesn't stop. Make it stop, you guys. Our kids are going to be so big so fast. It's crazy.
I know.
When you look at him, do you think that he looks exactly like Ethan did at that age, or do you not really see it?
I see glimpses of it, but like it's crazy. I tell Jesse, I see you, like I see Jesse, and then he does one thing, and then I see Ethan, but I don't see me. So I don't know. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
I don't know who you look like. You're just cute.
Yeah. I saw it a little bit at first, but now I feel like he looks just like Ethan did when he was that age.
Really?
Uh-huh.
I am starting to hear that a lot more. Like, oh, he's looking more like his brother now. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but I heard that with Justine. Oh my God, Elise looks just like Justine. And I thought I could see it a little bit, but then now looking back at it, I'm like, okay. I try to compare their pictures from around the same age. They do look pretty similar.
Yeah. I catch myself doing that a lot. Like, all right, around the same time.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we chose a topic today, and this is something that you've experienced, that Vanessa has experienced, and something that I had never heard about until Vanessa went through it. And I'm sure there's a lot of moms that have never heard of it either. And that is tongue ties.
Yes.
Whoop-de-doo. Dude, it's like a bad word if you're a mom with a baby that has one, you know? You're like, oh, seriously. My God.
It is so stressful.
So tell us about your adventures with tongue ties. Did both of your babies have them, or what's your story?
Yeah, so both of my boys had it. My first son is 4 years old. So, I started this journey then. I really wanted to breastfeed, and I was determined to make it happen. So I started. He not only was born premature, so that made it a little bit harder too. I started going to lactation consultants, I would say when he was like three days old. And they put me through everything. They're like, okay, well, let's try this. At first they told me, let's try a nipple shield because he's not latching. Let's try the SNS, which is a supplemental nutritional system.
Okay.
Basically, that is like a bottle. And what they do, it's like a little, I guess, like tube that you would put near your nipple, and you try to latch the baby on to try to get him used to that. So the nipple field and working for it, as opposed to the bottle where they, it just kind of gets dunked in their mouth. And then they told me I had thrush. I basically went through every single thing that you can think of with my first. I went through, I would say, maybe 3 or 4 different lactation consultants, just trying to figure out what was going on here. I would say by the 6-week mark, I found a lactation consultant, and she looked at my son. And at that point, that lactation consultant looked at my baby and was like, your baby has a tongue tie. And I'm like, what is that? Because, of course, I had no idea. And that's when she told me what's going on is there's a frenulum below the tongue. So what happens is it's too far out. It connects the tongue to the bottom of the mouth, and it doesn't allow for the baby to properly move his tongue to express the milk from the nipple. So the baby needs to be able to stick his tongue out far enough to essentially cup the nipple and be able to properly move the tongue back and forth to express the milk. My baby's tongue was tied that every time we would try to latch him on, he was essentially chewing on it because he wasn't able to stick out his tongue.
Oh my God.
So, yeah. So
I can't believe that you held on all the way until 6 weeks of that.
Yeah.
What a trooper.
I was determined. And literally from there, she sent me to a specialist. And that's exactly what the specialist said is, I'm surprised that you're still trying at 6 weeks. Because a lot of mothers would have given up at this point. And for me, it was just something that I really wanted to do. So I kept going, you know?
Right.
Well, Vanessa, with you, how long before you found out about Zoe?
I think it was... Okay, so she got seen in the hospital. I took her in. I don't think it was until her 1 week follow-up where I was like, okay, I'm trying to nurse her. She's not latched. No, it wasn't a week. It was probably, I want to say 3 days into it. I was like, she's not eating enough. I just know it. I feel it in my heart. I don't know what's going on. If she's getting anything, of course, we can't see a bottle emptying out when we're breastfeeding. So
of course,
I just felt like I had to cut off. I was like, if she doesn't eat or stop crying by this time, I'm just going to have to supplement her and call the doctor and figure out what to do from this point. So I took her in, but the thing is that Zoe was born on December 20th. So all of the doctors were closed for the holidays. So my pediatric at the time told me about the tongue tie, referred me to a specialist to go get her tongue cut if she needed it. Well, by the time I had the appointment, it was not until January 7th. That was my appointment date. So I was trying my hardest to just supplement her, pump, because she just was killing me. Like, I feel like I made a lot of mistakes with Zoe. I wish I would have had a better support system and educated myself a lot better on what to do. I mean, I feel like if I would have researched it a lot better, I would have known what a tongue tie was. And when they told me she had it, I would have been like, oh, I know exactly what that is, you know?
Yeah.
But all I knew was I'm pregnant, I'm going to have a baby, and I want to breastfeed. And when that baby comes out, I'm just going to put it on my nipple, and it's just going to be like,
smooth sailing.
I was born for this, you know? And it was not like that at all. And she was my first baby. I felt super defeated, and my family is not their formula family. So they're kind of just like, they weren't very supportive of like, oh, well, don't give up. It was kind of just like, well, throw in the towel, give her the bottle, you know, like, she just has to eat. So by the time I got her to the specialist, I had already lost my milk. And the doctor tells me, well, you already lost your milk. It's just not for everybody. I mean, if she was my daughter, I would just continue to formula feed her. And she definitely doesn't need to get her tongue cut. Like, she's fine. She's not going to I said, are you sure? She's not going to have any speech problems or anything like that. She said, no. I think at this point, if you were to decide to do the procedure, it would just be torturing her at this point because it's just not necessary. You're not doing it to breastfeed anymore. So what's the point of it? So, yes, all of this is from a doctor just completely being unsupportive of the fact that this is what I wanted to do as a mom. I wanted to breastfeed her. So when I went back to my pediatric and I told her, you know, we didn't do it after all because, you know, she said it wasn't necessary. She was very upset. She was like, I can't believe that she told you that. She's like, which doctor did you go see? And I told her the name. She goes, yep, that's exactly why I took her off of my list of referral, because she has told so many of my patients that their baby did not need the procedure. And she was so wrong. It was completely necessary.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. So with my second baby, I was right away when she came out, I was like, does she have a tongue tie? Please check, because I was just like, nope, I'm not failing this time. Like, I'm gonna breastfeed this baby no matter what. I'm getting this milk in this baby. So, it really helped. I did it. I did it for 20 months, and I was really proud of myself because, I mean, just like you, there was so many nights that I was sitting there crying my eyes out, wanting to give up, wanting to give her formula because, we only had 2 more days until the procedure, but, I still am trying to breastfeed her until the procedure is done. So it was just so much of us just learning
and that's
how to
the
work.
hard part too.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry. I was going to say, because once they get it clipped, it's still a matter of them learning to do the suckling motion all over again, because they learned it with the tongue that they had in utero. So now you have to train them again from the very beginning.
Their body's,
and that's what makes it stressing. It's
so foreign to them. They're just like, what is this new tongue in my mouth? So
exactly.
It's kind of like you're right with a brand new baby all over again, and it's just, it was a lot. And I'm proud of both of us because we hung in there and we did it. We did it for our babies.
So with Ethan, you said you waited the 6 weeks. You went to the specialist.
So I went in. Yeah, they went into the specialist. She went ahead and checked, and she told me he had a posterior tongue tie. So I didn't know there was 2 kinds. There is anterior and posterior. So the anterior tongue tie is basically the tie is towards the front of the tongue, and you can more so see it because you can see it connected easier, as opposed to a posterior tongue tie, which of course is just more towards the back. And I feel like the posterior tongue tie is harder to detect because when you look inside, it just looks like a normal tongue.
Right.
So what they had to do is, initially she told me, oh yeah, your son has a, anterior tongue tie. What they do is they get a metal piece that has just like a little slit in the middle to basically put under the baby's tongue, and they lift the baby's tongue up and just go in with scissors. And just cut it. So there's 2 ways of getting your tongue tie released, which is just the normal scissors, or there's the laser way. So with Ethan, it was done with scissors. They didn't put any anesthetic or anything. They told me it wouldn't hurt him because he was still little.
What?
Yeah, literally they just went in and went clip, there's your baby.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And Mama had to hold him because Daddy couldn't do it.
Oh.
So I'm the one holding him, watching him get clipped. And it killed me, but at the same time, he didn't really cry. It was amazing. So they went in, they're like, he doesn't really have nerves. It's not going to hurt him. They clipped it. He bled for like a couple of seconds, and literally they latched him on and he fed 100% normal.
Did you cry?
He was content and he slept. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I would have been crying too.
Finally.
Yeah, I cried the entire time.
Yeah, because it's like this whole time I went through this whole stress for 6 weeks just for it to be a tongue tie. Like, had we known this from the beginning, it would have, just saved me so much of my sanity.
Yeah.
Dude, and those first 6 weeks, even when they are latching on, it's tough. Those first weeks
you're still learning whether they have a tongue tie or not. So the first 6 weeks are rough with or without that tongue tie, but
totally.
Oh my gosh.
Just in general, their sleeping habits and you're sleeping, the way your body's trying to readjust, you're just a mess. And to be able to pump as much as you did and keep your milk going is amazing. I wouldn't have been able to do it for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely stressful. It's just like an added on thing on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very traumatizing experience. I got Luna's tongue. She actually got her tongue cut on her dad's birthday, so she was only 6 days old. And she actually had a tongue tie and an upper lip tie. So you can have both or one or the other. So she had both, and she had to get them cut, of course. And luckily, my pediatric has now been certified to do the procedure in her office.
She's like, She's like, I don't want these ladies or these doctors telling my moms this one thing. I'm just going to do it myself.
I know. I love her for that, because I'm just like, heck yeah. Like, you know, it's really hard to trust people with your babies, of course. And I love this lady. She's been my doctor since I had Zoe. I found her by luck, and I just felt so much better knowing that she was going to be in her hands. But I didn't get to hold her, actually. They put her on the table, and the nurse helped hold the baby down while the doctor did the procedure, and she was screaming bloody murder. Bloody murder. Like, I was having the hardest time. I was sitting there just crying, like itching for them to just hand me my baby back, you know?
Right.
And it felt like me,
forget about it.
Yes. It felt like the longest minutes of my life, and it was like the most horrifying, like, baby cry to me, because I guess I knew exactly what they were doing to her. So I just felt like, oh my gosh, like, they're torturing her, you know?
Did they just clip her?
Yeah, they clipped her. They clipped the tongue. They clipped her upper lip. And, you know, there was a little bit of blood. And immediately after that, she just latched right on. They helped, you know, put her on there. And she calmed herself down. And we were on the way to recovery from there. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the recovery part, because that was no fun for me at all. I made Joey do all of the exercises.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
With Ethan, they didn't give me any sort of exercises. They just told me, all right, you're good, bye.
No.
I had no idea you had to do exercises. I had no idea you had to do stretches. They just told me, just feed him, he's fine. And luckily, he's
and
fine.
did it reattach?
No, it didn't. As far as I'm concerned, it didn't, because we breastfed for just about 4 years. So he was fine, you know? But with my second son, I knew immediately, like, hey, check for the tongue tie. Because at this point, I had dug deep into research, and I already knew what to look out for and what to do. They told me he didn't have a tongue tie, that he was latching on properly, and that he was eating well.
But did you feel like that was the case? You did feel like that was the case?
Yeah, initially, yes. When I was in the hospital, yes. I was like, okay, cool. I did my part. I knew what to look out for. You know, I asked my questions. They told me he's good. They told me he's eating well. So they released me. I get home, and same thing. I'm trying. And he's literally constantly latching on. And I remember I reached out to you, Jessica, because I was like, does he eat this much? Like, I get newborns eat a lot, but this is just crazy. Like, he just doesn't seem satisfied.
Yeah.
So I did reach out to Jessica just to kind of see, because, of course, with Ethan, I didn't breastfeed initially from the start. I was, like, supplementing both and doing the bottle. So she told me, yeah, it's normal. They do eat a lot. And then one night I told Jessie, okay, here, like, take him. I need a break. I need to use the restroom. I'll come back and I'll put him on again. Well, Jessie stuck his finger into Jaden's mouth and noticed that his mouth was completely dry.
Aww.
So Jessie's telling me, like, his mouth's dry. He's not eating. And I'm like, well, he's latching on all the time. What do you mean he's not eating? Like, he is eating. So we made the decision to go get some formula just to kind of, you know, fill his tummy for now. And my poor baby chugged that thing down so fast and slept for 3 hours. So I was like, okay, well, my baby was obviously hungry, and I felt completely horrible. Like, I cried thinking I was starving my baby.
Oh.
So then I, you know, I go to the doctor, his pediatrician. I told her, I think he does have a tongue tie. And she's all like, you think so? And I was like, yeah, because I think it's just posterior, which is why you can't see it. So then she goes in and she checks, and she's like, you know what? I think he does. Let me send you a referral for a specialist. So I go ahead and make the call. She made it urgent for me, which I really appreciated it. I go into the specialist, the ENTs, and the doctor told me he has a posterior tongue tie. Same thing. They go in, you know, they clip him. And I made sure I spoke to the specialist prior, and I confirmed with her, it's posterior. This is what you're going to do. Do I need to do any exercises, any stretches? You know, just asking my questions as a mom. And she just told me, nope, just clip it and you're good to go. Once again, same thing as Ethan. So she told me, after I clip it, I'm going to let you feed him for like 10 minutes. Then I'll come in to confirm and double check that everything was done properly. And I told her, okay, great. She left. I tried latching Jaden on. He wasn't taking it. So I just gave him the bottle. And same thing. She came in, she checked. She's like, yeah, everything's perfect. You're good to go. No follow-up, no stretches or anything. So I went ahead and took her word for it because I figured Ethan turned out fine. You know, Jaden should be fine. Yeah. So we came home, and I would say second or third day in, I kept looking at Jaden. I was like, no, I think he still has a tongue tie. It wasn't done properly. So Jesse and I decided to get a second opinion, and we went to now a pediatric dentist. And we had heard such great reviews about her, so we drove to Redondo Beach. And when the pediatric dentist checks him, she tells me, you know, they did clip his tongue tie, but they only clipped it 60%.
Gosh.
So now, yeah, I'm frustrated because I was like, I thought we had already taken care of this, and now you're telling me they didn't do a proper job.
Now your baby has to go through it twice. The baby has to go through all that pain. Oh my god.
Exactly. Gosh. And what she told me is because it was already initially done, now that when she goes in, she has to make an even deeper, wider cut to go around the scar tissue that was already building from the first one.
Oh my gosh.
So that was stressful in itself. I felt horrible because once again, yeah, my baby has to go through it again, as if it's not hard enough the first time.
Right.
And I kind of just felt defeated to an extent because I felt like I had done my part as a mom. I'm a big researcher, so I had, you know, dug deep into research. I felt like I had all my questions, and I just did what I had to do, and I still failed to properly get him 100%, you know? So she told me in this office they do the laser. So she told me, if you want to do it, we can do it. I'm just going to have to make a bigger cut. She asked me if they had told me anything about stretches. I told her no. Everything that she was asking for, I just told her. They literally just sent me out the door and said, good luck. So she wasn't very happy with that. She was like, I don't feel like ENT should be doing it because that's kind of their mentality. You know, you really need to stretch out the tongue. You really need to exercise it to make sure it doesn't reattach. So when they went ahead and did Jaden's second sternotomy, she went ahead and told me the proper stretches. And of course, I'm the one that had to do all that because Jesse did not go into his mouth once.
Oh, can you tell us what the stretches are that you have to do?
Yeah. So what you do is you get just like your one finger. And what you do is you kind of rub the gums on either side. So just around 5 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go to the other gums at the bottom of the, you know, the lower jaw. And then you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that side. What you do at that point is you go into the tongue and you're going to stretch it up. So basically you're going into the wound and just stretching it up to the upper part of the mouth. Mm-hmm. You have to do it in the middle and along the sides just to make sure it doesn't, you know, reattach. And then after that, you go towards the bottom of the tongue where, of course, the bottom jaw, and you kind of just dig deep into the bottom of the tongue. I don't know if that makes sense. But you kind of go in and you just make circles, like 5 circles on either side of the frenulum. And yeah, it's that simple. Just bottom jaw, stretch the tongue up, and then the bottom of the tongue, you stretch it down. And I had to do that, 5 to 6 times a day. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of breastfeeding.
It was horrible. I was like, I am not pushing on the baby's wound where they just got freaking cut. I'm not doing it. I gave birth to her. You have to do it. Like, you are in charge of that. I had to watch her get the procedure done and because Joey was in the waiting room with Zoe to make sure. Like, I was like, I don't want Zoe in there when she's getting her tongue cut because I don't want to. What if she makes a noise and makes the doctor nervous or something? Oh. Like, you guys wait over there. I'll be in there with her. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have traded him places. But I had to latch her on after they did the procedure. So I was like, It has to be me. So I was like, no, I'm the one that did the procedure and the birth. So I think it's only fair that you do the exercises.
Yeah, Jesse just has such a weak stomach. I'm like, seriously? Even when the doctor was telling us, like, okay, I'm going to show you the stretches and I'm going to have you record it on your phone so you have something to look back on and make sure you're doing it properly. she's all like, which one am I going to do it on? Jessie just looked at me. I'm like, I guess it's me.
Oh.
Hey, that's a really good idea for her to tell you guys to do that, to record it on your phone, to watch it back later.
Yeah, it was pretty smart because then I got home like, all right, what you tell me again?
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, what did she say? I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm like, I just know my baby's tongue just got cut. That's all I'm thinking about.
Exactly.
And even when she was telling me, I was like, so you're telling me I have to stretch directly into the wound? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my goodness, really?
That's what I'm like, so you're telling me it's not over? Like, I have to go and, like, press on this wound that my baby just got for like the next however many weeks until you say to stop? Ugh,
exactly.
Torture.
And then you can see it healing too. She's like, then you're going to see the little white diamond. And that's how you know it's healing. Make sure you press on that diamond. I'm like, what?
Oh my gosh.
And then Jaden started to know now, which was the even like more sad part, is he started to know the exercises, because the moment I start doing the gums, he just starts to cry already and start closing his mouth.
Aww. Yeah, I already know what to expect.
Sorry.
Like, oh, here she goes again with her torture.
And exactly. I'm like, I'm baby.
Sorry. And how long do you have to do these exercises for? Sorry, I don't know if you said that already. For how?
About 4 weeks. So the first 2 weeks, they want you to really go 5 to 6 times a day.
Okay.
And then after the 2 week mark, if the baby's healing properly, that's when they, bring it down to, I believe at that point I was doing just once in the morning, once at night.
Okay.
And then after the 2 weeks, they told me, all right, he's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And so, and this whole time, so how many weeks was this altogether of you going to the doctors and getting checked and rechecked?
So I believe he got the second sternotomy done around 3 weeks.
Okay.
And this doctor was doing follow-up. So I would see her the first time he got it done on a Monday. We saw her on Friday. Then we saw her 2 times the following week. So I would say 2 times a week we were seeing her for the first 2 weeks. And then after that, it was once a week for the last 2 weeks. And then she kind of just called us once it reached the 1 month mark and just told us, all right, you guys can stop doing the exercises. Jaden's good.
Great. And in this time, how much milk do you think you had to pump?
A lot.
A lot? I know so much.
So I kind of already knew, the direction this was going because of Ethan. So what I started doing is once I noticed he had a tongue tie and he was just stressing too much at the breast, I just started pumping and giving him in a bottle. And, just trying to put him at the breast at every feeding just to make sure he still tries to learn the feel of it. But with all my pumping, I did well, I would say over 400, 500 ounces.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. Since I had Elise, I think my pump was kind of old. That's what one of, Vanessa, not you, Vanessa, the other Vanessa told me, was that they kind of have an expiration date, so you have to get a new one. And I was just like, forget it. I'm not working anyways. I'm not even going to bother trying to pump. But this whole time, I probably have only pumped not even 20 ounces.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard.
I mean, I hate pumping.
Yeah.
I did it because I had to, but I'm like, once they learn how to breastfeed, I'm like, get that pump out of here. I am done with it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's too many parts to have to wash and
disinfect. And
do you guys know why is it just because a bottle is easier to get milk out of? Like why they can take from a nipple bottle, but they can't latch with the nipple shield?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've done, like I said, lots of research myself. So it's just easier with the bottle because the bottle just dunks in their mouth. So they essentially don't have to work for it.
Okay.
All they have to do is just a slight, like Jaden was gnawing on it and it was bringing milk out. So it's just easier for them that way. Okay. As opposed to the nipple, they actually have to reach out and work to even stimulate the milk to get going.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that makes sense.
So, yeah.
So do you think because you breastfed Ethan and when Jaden was born and all this tongue tie stuff, do you think it was still challenging for you to be able to breastfeed even with all of that experience under your belt?
Yes, definitely. I thought I was going into this, as a pro. I knew everything. I've been through everything. I'm going to get it down from the very beginning. And I did my fair share of crying with Jaden as well. I just kept telling Ethan, it's my husband. I kept telling him it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Like, I'm trying everything and he's still not getting it. Because even after the procedure, Jaden wasn't getting it down. So I was like, it's too late. He's used to the bottle, which he did get used to the bottle, because the way I transitioned him back to the breast was putting the nipple shield on and then eventually taking away the nipple shield. So,
smart.
Yeah, so I did think it was going to be a smoother ride this time around, but it was just as stressful, I feel like. But at least I kind of had an idea of what to do. So I didn't have to go to lactation consultants as much. The moment I knew he was struggling, my husband went out and got the nipple shield, and we were, doing the nipple shield at least until he can completely get it down. We were doing the pace feeding, which is when you bottle feed them, you kind of put it at a 90-degree angle so that all the milk isn't essentially getting dunked into their mouth. And what happens is they essentially have to work for it at the bottle as well. And it teaches them kind of like, at the breast, it's not going to come as fast. This is kind of going to be the flow at the breast. So it kind of helps them get used to that as well. And yeah, I kind of just felt like I did what I already knew. And it was easier because Ethan, it took me 6 weeks. With Jaden, I would say it took me about 3 to 4 weeks for him to get it down. So it was faster, but it was still just as stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Every day, the amount of time doesn't matter. It's just the fact that it's happening. It's insane.
Yes.
I didn't even know what a nipple shield was before either. I think another mom that I know, Justine had found it on the around somewhere, and she's like, "Oh my God, she has my nipple shield." I'm like, "What the hell is a nipple shield?"
Yeah, it's kind of a weird little contraption there, but it works.
Yeah. So
I didn't know about them either until my best friend bought me some because I was struggling so bad with Luna. She's like, maybe you need a nipple shield. I'm like, sure. Bring whatever you can find that can possibly help.
Exactly. And that also relieves your breast, so it's nice to just kind of have that break for a little bit.
So people use nipple shields for like what? If you have flat nipples, if you have inverted nipples, if they're just not taking it, right? Or what other reasons would somebody use one?
Yeah, it could be those reasons. It could be, how I used it to get the baby from the bottle back to breast. Mm-hmm. It could be if, it's hard in the beginning. Sometimes your nipples can become cracked or start bleeding. So you can place that on there, and it kind of gives your nipples a break while baby still feeds, and it can still stimulate your breast to keep producing milk. So those are the reasons that I know, based on my research, why nipple shields are used. And it's interesting because nipple shields actually started years ago, and they were actually made out of like metal and copper. So I don't even get how that was comfortable, but that's how they started way back when.
That's crazy. Googling it now.
I was like, I don't even get how that works, but if it worked for them, it led to what we have now.
Wow. I think it's super informative to know that your doctor did that procedure and just sent you out the door. And 2 different doctors, right? Or did you take Jaden to a different place, or was it the same place as Ethan?
No, Jaden was a different place. It was all completely new doctors from what Ethan was. And yeah, I had to take him 2 times. So it just sucks because I'm like, okay, well, I know exactly what to look out for, and I still went through the troubles,
Yeah.
I know exactly what to do. And that's when I told my pediatrician, like, no, his tongue's not going all the way up to the roof of his mouth. Like, he has a tongue tie. So I was actually the one that told them, he has a tongue tie, get me a referral. So at least I was able to put my foot down on that part.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel awesome when you're like diagnosing your babies before they even walk in there? You're like, look, doctor, I know what it is.
This is what's going on. Exactly.
Just do what I'm telling you to do, okay?
Yeah.
But that's
basically what it was.
That makes me so worried for the moms that have never heard of a tongue tie like me. Like I would walk in there, and if they weren't nursing, I'd just be like, I have no idea. I don't know what happened.
Right.
And you guys had the experience beforehand to kind of know what to walk in with, but there's so many people that are just like, I don't know, it just didn't work.
Exactly.
And you know what? Honestly, it's one of those things that even doctors today don't know how to properly diagnose. Like, you need to go to the right doctor. Mm-hmm. Doctors don't know to look out for the tongue tie. Doctors don't know that this can cause speech problems, that it can cause problems with breastfeeding, with even just eating with the bottle, because even Jaden was struggling with the regular bottle. So having a tongue tie also causes reflux. Having a tongue tie causes a lot of air in the tummy because they end up drinking a lot of air because they can't properly move their tongue. So unfortunately, it's just one of those things that doctors don't know how to properly diagnose because they're not aware,
right?
of the problems that it can cause.
Some doctors just kind of get used to doing their normal practice, and they don't really. They kind of fall away from keeping themselves involved in what, like, the new medicine, the new studies, or, hey, this is what's changed. Come to this seminar. Keep yourself informed. So whenever I'm looking for a doctor for myself, or I didn't really have to find one for the girls, but especially for myself, I'm always like, how on top of things is this doctor? Like, are they keeping themselves afloat, reading reviews? It's really important, because one wrong thing and they can send us away thinking everything's okay when it wasn't. So,
exactly. Medicine's always changing, and they need to be able to keep up with that.
Right. Exactly.
I remember when I was pregnant and I was going to WIC, they were asking me if I was going to a baby-friendly hospital. So kind of, I don't know if all hospitals are like that now, but basically they're just, the hospital's really pro breastfeeding, and they're not going to offer you formula there. They want you to do skin to skin and blah, 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 blah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I knew my hospital was like that, because that was their whole thing during their seminar, is we're a baby-friendly thing, and we're looking out for all the new things. So that's what I was glad they knew. But I don't know. It's just all crazy. Oh, man.
Motherhood is hard.
Yeah, it is. All right. I think we got all things tongue ties, and I hope that was informative for some people. I know it has to be, because I learned a lot right now. But what, Gaby, on another note, since we are in safe at home territory, what are you doing with Ethan and the baby right now to keep your guys' selves busy?
So I feel like I'm failing because Ethan's just kind of been on TV and iPad. All the things that I would like not want him to do before Jaden. Exactly. But now it's like, dude, if it's keeping us all sane, just do it. Because now half the time Jaden's nursing because he's still so little, so I'm stuck. So he literally switches off from the iPad. He knows the password of mine and Jesse's phone, so he logs into our phone. He has his own folder on our phones. He knows how to turn on the TV now. I'm just like, oh goodness, like I need to get you off of this, because you can tell he's building a little bit like a bit of an addiction now. Now he's all like, well, can I take this with me? Can I do that? Can I? And I'm just like, goodness gracious, I don't like this. So
it's okay. You have a 2-month-old baby, so
I know I'm trying not to like mom guilt myself, but I feel it.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm starting to slowly try to transition him out, though, because I feel like I'm starting to get Jaden's schedule down a little bit better. And, he's starting to stay awake a little bit more now. So now I'm like, all right, Ethan, let's go do some crafts. Let's go play in the back. Let's go have your toys or whatever. Let's go for a walk. Something just to get you out of that screen.
Are there any websites or that you've been utilizing for their activity sheets for Ethan?
No, I know there is a lot, and I have them all saved. I'm going to try to really get into those, because that's what I told Jesse. I want him to at least spend some time, if he's going to spend it on the screen, spend some time learning. Now, mind you, a lot of the games that I get for him are all just learning ones. I don't like him to just do the, dumb little random games. Mm-hmm. I have like Hitopia on there. I have just a whole bunch of like learning apps that I can't even remember right now. But I definitely want to get him a little bit more. I know ABC Mouse has a discount right now. Mm-hmm. Trying to get him more on a little curriculum. I work with him myself.
A free code for ABC Mouse right now. I'll send it to you.
A free code for like awesome. Always free?
For like the next couple of months.
Oh, well, send it my way too, sister.
Will do. I have a few.
Okay. Yeah, for me too, it's been a little... I'm not doing as many activities as I would like to, but we are playing the same game like all day, where I get to the point where today, Justine, we are no longer playing Sonic and Tails. You cannot be those characters anymore. She's like, okay, now let's be these characters. I'm like, no, for 1 hour, we have to be ourselves. Like, I can't keep living like this.
I can't keep calling you Sonic, okay?
Yeah, right, exactly. And then it'll turn into like, well, we're playing Harry Potter, and the only way I can get her to do her schoolwork is that she's Ron. So at the top of all her papers, if you guys come over and there's some work on the wall that says Ronald, you know who it is.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. You gotta love their imaginations.
So cute. We gotta enjoy it while it lasts, guys.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I just went to like random things too. One of my mom friends sent me that little Libros had some activity sheets, so I went on there and printed out some coloring sheets and little Spanish worksheets that they had. And what else did I go to? I went to ABC Mouse, but then it started getting into there's a 1 month trial and put in your credit card information, and that kind of always gets me into like, I'll do this later. I don't feel like pulling out my cards. So I didn't do
the same thing.
Yeah, so I didn't do that, but I did go to a couple random sites, and then Justine always has PBS Kids app on her tablet too, so she'll just play some games. But that's it. We were working on a really tight schedule while she was in school, but since she's been out of school, I don't know what happened. I lost it.
Has she asked you like, why am I not going to school anymore? What's going on?
I said, Justine, because of the coronavirus, we're not going to be going back to school for a couple weeks. Hooray!
Oh my god.
Oh, she hates her teacher. She cannot stand her teacher.
Really? Aww.
Yeah. And she loved her teacher last year, so she's always just like, oh, I wish I still had Miss Abuniwe. My new teacher's so mean.
Well, I mean, I don't think she's going to see her anymore at this rate, right?
Yeah, probably not.
It down completely?
They haven't said yet, but that's the word on the street that's most likely going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably should to keep us all safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last I've heard was when they called. They haven't called again. So that Friday, that was the last day of school. They just said we're coming back. We're supposed to come back March 31st. So they haven't said anything again. We'll see.
Oh wow, March 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, my kids are off till May 1st.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they did an update or not. I'll check the CDC website and see what they say. But who knows? That was the last word I got. And Vanessa, I always look at your Instagram and you seem like you're pretty busy with your activities and stuff. What are you doing with the girls?
We pick an animal of the day, each one of us. So we learn about an animal, maybe during like breakfast and lunch. And the rest of the day is history. I mean, luckily for me, I drove myself insane for a little while with back-to-back babies, but it's paying off right now, guys. It really is.
Because they're learning at the same rate.
Yeah, and they have each other to like play with each other, because I know like that's a huge thing when you have, one kid, one age, they want to play, and you're just like, wait, the baby's sleeping and I want to do this, and this and that. Yeah. So it's really awesome because they're always like run off and play together after breakfast. They'll keep themselves busy for like almost a good 2 hours. They'll ask for a snack. I'll let them do like learning time on the tablet for a little while. We'll play Just Dance. It's just all day, constantly. Like they normally are really, really good at keeping themselves entertained and playing with each other. But every now and then they'll fight over something, and then I'll just be like, okay, well, let's change what you guys are doing. So that's like my best way to avoid conflict in this house is just, all right, you guys aren't getting along at this very second. Let's do this instead. It's time to color. It's time to... So that's what I try to do. I just try to constantly keep them moving and changing what they're doing.
Good.
That's smart. I know I see your post and I'm like, goodness, that's what I want to be doing. I want to keep them engaged. I want to keep them going, but it's just not happening right now.
Yeah. A big part of my day the past couple weeks was having Justine play dress up with me in the mornings while the baby napped and, whatever. But then all of a sudden she just like, what's the theme today? And I'll tell her, she's like, I don't want to be that. And I'm like, come on, bro. Like... You can't be anybody else. We have to be from this movie. That's the theme. She's like, nope. I'm going to be Tails. I'm going to be Sonic. And I'm like, you cannot be Sonic. So end up dressing like that anyways, right? Because who am I to deny a child their imagination? So I just don't. I just don't post her picture because she is not on trend, guys.
She does not get to make it to the gram. Okay.
No, not if she's gonna mess up my Disney bound. But she doesn't know. But it was fun before. I mean, I don't know why she got distracted or disinterested. Because at first, when she was dressing up afterwards, she'd want to keep looking at the pictures, and now she just doesn't care. She's like, forget it. Only one more week of it, and then I'm done. And you guys don't have to see me dressed up like a Disney weirdo anymore.
You have a lot of patience. Let's see what your April challenge is.
No, it's actually does not take me long at all. You know, I really cut down my wardrobe, so I just have a few things that I go through and just throw it on really quick, take a couple shots, and then I'm like, all right, there has to be a good one in there. This will do. But yeah, you know, that's it. That's what indoor life has been like for us.
I'm ready for it to be done.
Yeah, I know.
I know. We're all hanging in there.
Yeah, it's never going to be the same, but maybe that's for the better.
I know.
Yeah.
All right, Gabby. Thank you for coming on with us. It's been a while.
Thank you for having me. I know. Yeah. Hopefully we get together soon.
Yep. And I'm sure there's
I know.
One day.
Gotta make it happen. I know, one day. It'll be the end of the year, but it'll happen.
Yeah, we'll see each other for the holidays, maybe.
All right.
Dude. Dude, when their cousin Vanessa was saying that, we should do everybody's birthday from Allegra to Elise and once we're able to be with each other again, I was like, that's jacked up. Ethan and Jaden are the only ones with birthdays outside of those months.
Right. I was like, okay, my babies are left out. It's okay, though, I get it.
Like, we can't do a birthday for we're going to sing to every single kid but Ethan and Jay. That's so jacked up. We cannot do that. Ethan will just come body slam everybody and be like, it's my birthday cake.
For real. For real. My kid's rough.
That's what it's like when you're the only boy for a while.
I know. And that's what I tell you. See, I get all the names confused now. That's what I tell Jesse now. I was like, it's because he's the only boy. Like, they all want to play girl, and he's, like, rough, so he's just ready to take out that energy, and they're not ready for that.
I know. It's tough. But, what are you going to do? All right, so, I was going to say if there's any projects or anything you're working on, but I don't think you're doing any mom blogs or anything, are you?
Me?
Yeah.
Nope, nothing.
Nope. All right.
I'm just trying to survive the day. Okay?
Yeah. Nope. That's good. Me too. Alrighty. Well, then for us, you can find us on Instagram as Moody Mommies Podcast, on Twitter as The Moody Mommies, and we have a Facebook page. Google us. Otherwise, Ness, you want to tell them what to do?
Stay moody, guys.
Say Moody Mommies.
Moody Mommies.
Moody Mommies Podcast.